Hi there, education fans. My name is Sieva Kaczynski, founder and CEO of Study Soup. We're really passionate about education, so we're bringing you educators and influencers like Tom here so you can stay ahead in your space. Tom Murray is the Director of Technology and Cyber Education for the Quakertown Community School District in Pennsylvania. His QCSD program has been highlighted by Forbes.com, The Journal, Project Red, the Innosight Institute, and more. He's one of the most connected educators I've ever seen, and it's great to have you with us here, Tom.
Thanks. What a pleasure it is to be here. I can't wait to talk technology, talk connected educators, and it's an honor to be on the show today. Thank you.
Excellent. We're really excited as well. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I currently am the Director of Technology and Cyber Education, as you mentioned, the Quakertown Community School District. And what that means is I oversee my tech department, but we are also a public school with a full-time cyber program in K-12. We believe in complete versatility for our kids. We want all options and complete flexibility for our kids. So many of our kids are cyber and come face-to-face, and any sort of blended model in between or hybrid model in between. It's kind of my day job. At night, I'm a connected educator. I'm actually a connected educator all day long. Learning and growing from others around the world is my passion. It has ignited the passion in me. Speaking of passions, for me, it's EdTech. As one of the founders of EdTech Chat, on a weekly basis, we get together with hundreds of educators around the world to talk about education. But my other passion is related to professional development and finding ways to completely overhaul that so that it's meaningful, relevant, and engaging for teachers. So a little bit about me, a little bit about my passions, and I'm excited to be here.
You mentioned connected educators. We love talking about that here. Tell us about this movement a little bit, and how are educators connecting online, and what are they doing?
Sure. Twitter for me has been a game changer, an absolute game changer. And the term connected educator has become really popular in about the last 2 years. Twitter's not the only way to get connected. People are using Google+, even Facebook and some other things, essentially connecting with other educators around the world. In the past, it's always been, I'm going to connect with the people in my school or in my hallway, a really close-knit group, maybe in my district. And that's all well and good. And that PLN, or your personal learning network, and that environment is certainly important. And being a connected educator does not replace that. But what it does when you're connected is it connects you with people around the world that do what you do on a daily basis to help make you better. Ultimately, why do I want to be a connected educator? Because it's going to help the children that I serve. Why? Because on a daily basis, I get to connect with hundreds of people that are out there. They're sharing blogs, they're sharing other information, they're giving insight. Whatever the hot topics are that are out there, they're sharing their thoughts and insights and debating and whatnot, and it makes me better because I'm getting that information firsthand. If we're in a position where we're doing our professional development by opening up Google and typing in a topic, we're 15 years behind when it comes to that. I can watch the flow of information now come to me by educators that I respect. Everywhere from somebody like being able to communicate with a Ken O'Connor, who's known for grading, to an Arnie Duncan for the Secretary of Education, educators like that I've been able to connect with. How else can you do that in a typical school environment? How else would you do that without some sort of social medium forum?
So Tom, what kind of tools are people using beyond Twitter?
Sure. A lot of times people start with twitter.com where they go in, they sign up. I have to be honest and say I think I use twitter.com. The only time I use this is really when I sign up. I'm not a big fan of the website itself. One of the tools that you can use is called TweetDeck. It's an app in Google Chrome. It's phenomenal. What you can do is you can add different columns. So when you start looking at different hashtags, which is one of the biggest parts of it, there's hashtags for virtually everything. Good friend of mine, Jerry Blumengarten. My name is Cybrary Man. If you look up Cybrary Man's hashtags, you're going to see hashtags for everything. You can follow hashtags. For instance, a hot topic right now is obviously Common Core. If you follow the hashtag CCSS for Common Core State Standards, you will see dozens of resources coming through from educators all over the country sharing rubrics, ideas, lesson plans, implementation, or whatnot. So it helps connect in that regard. So TweetDeck's one, Hootsuite's one, TweetChat's another, I believe. And so I personally use TweetDeck. It's easy for me. On a mobile device, I do use the Twitter icon. I'm sorry, the Twitter app. And I must say that is a pretty effective way. It'd be difficult to run some sort of chat or something like that from that, but it is a device. Being on a mobile device is really helpful. Another part of Twitter that I think is absolutely vital, I just mentioned the word chats. Each week, there's over 200 chats that take place. Something like New Teacher Chat to the EdTech Chat, which I just mentioned that I co-founded.
Where can we find these resources?
So I actually curated a resource. I mentioned my good friend Jerry Blumengarten does help me with that now. The official chat list, we call it. If you go to bit.ly, so it's bit.ly/official chat list, you will find all of the resources, and it's updated virtually daily. As new chats start, people let us know. We add them. We revise times. There's a variety of state chats. Like the other day, I took part in Iowa EdChat, even though I'm here in Pennsylvania. I'll take part in EdChat, which is kind of the behemoth of them all, what started on Tuesdays, and where some of them will look at general topics such as, homework or flipping the classroom or parent conferences.
I've actually seen this list before, and it's gold. You're telling me you started this?
Yeah, I curated it. I started it in my home district with a colleague of mine by the name of Chad Evans. As we tried to get here in Quakertown our own teachers, we wanted to get them connected, so we just started putting them together because we wanted to show our fourth grade teachers that, hey, there's a fourth chat. Let's connect with fourth grade teachers around the world, or a kinder chat for the kindergarten teachers. And we started out with a small list just as kind of examples, and then it grew and it grew to the point of anytime you log into the document, you see about 20 people around the world looking at it in real time and sharing it over and over. I can't tell you the amount of times I see it in a magazine, or I see it in a blog post or whatnot. It's really become a go-to resource for people related to Twitter chats. I'm certainly proud of that, but the whole point is to really serve our kids.
Mm-hmm. And that's wild, because I've seen it before, and it's spread obviously around the world, and it's crazy to think that you started that, and now it's like its own living organism.
Sure.
So I read somewhere that you organized the TwoState homework debate. I'm interested in hearing about that and how your kind of connected background played into that.
Sure, being connected is really what brought that together, and I don't want to take full credit for that. I will say it won the EduBlog Award for the best use of technology this past year. It was a team of us. It certainly was just not me. But what we did is we had a number of connected educators that were in New Jersey, and a number of us here. A good friend of mine by the name of Joe Mazza. You can follow him on Twitter at Joe_Mazza. He was a principal here in Pennsylvania. Got ourselves together, and as part of the standards, we're looking at argumentative writing, also looking at debating and those kinds of things. So we put our heads together and said, why don't we do a Pennsylvania versus New Jersey? We're going to flip a coin, and Pennsylvania or New Jersey is one that's going to have to argue for homework. They did their research on homework and why it's effective and why kids should have it. And then the other state, why not? Why, what's homework doing? That's the negative side of things. And they had time to debate, and they went back and forth. So that the outcome was kids were able to connect through a Google Hangout in different states. It was actually 4 schools working together. We used a back channel of Today's Meet, where Pennsylvania used one Today's Meet. So the 2 schools, because we were in 2 different schools in Pennsylvania, could collaborate in real time on what their next argument was going to be. And New Jersey did the same. So using tools like that allowed 4 schools, 2 in Pennsylvania, 2 in New Jersey, to come together to debate something like that. We brought in judges. A great friend of mine, Shannon Miller, a librarian out in Iowa, took part. Will Richardson, a great EdTech guru, was one of our judges. We had a poet that was one of our judges. So here was our kids on a global stage being able to argue for or against based on what it was. So when you want to talk about the power of being connected, I can't think of any opportunity when I went to school of anything in that regard. So here kids on a global scale are able to do it. Kids become more engaged. Kids are excited about it. They're going home talking about it. And when you do things like that kids want to do it, they're so excited, their engagement's through the roof.
So you having a live Google Hangout across different states with judges who are in their own places, all online, and it was just like any other debate, but all hosted online.
Correct, and doing it. And sometimes kids get a little tired of debating the classroom across the hall because you've done it 12 times during the school year. So giving people the opportunity to say, hey, we're going against New Jersey here, really gives a sense of pride. And that was really neat for the kids and something they'll remember.
What kind of responses did you get from your kids?
Oh, they were excited, and I'll tell you what, they did their research. When the kids knew that that we were going to be Pennsylvania and we were going to take on New Jersey, they absolutely dug deeper in their research because they wanted to win. So it was fun in terms of the competition. Our judges used rubrics and whatnot, but it was really neat to see the kids get really, really involved. And because of that slightly competitive bit, the pride of Pennsylvania, the pride of New Jersey was there. The kids did a better job than if it was just they were going to debate the table next to them. Does it take a little bit of legwork to set up and coordinate? Of course it does, but it was a more memorable experience for kids. And again, there was a team of about 6 of us that really worked to set that up.
Very, very, very cool. So let's take a left turn here. Right now you're traveling quite a bit across districts, I think.
Yep.
You're working on personalized roadmaps for teachers. Maybe tell us a little bit about that. What are the objectives there, and what are some of the changes that you're seeing?
Sure. I've been working a lot across the country. I was in Arizona, Florida, New Jersey, New York recently, all in the past month or two, talking about personalized roadmaps for teachers. And this is an area I'm really passionate about. I really believe that we are spending millions and millions of dollars a year in education wrong when it comes to professional development. And that is a criticism of mine. I think a lot of times in your traditional district, and we are finally starting to see a shift nationwide, but a lot of times professional development for your teachers is top down, one size fits all. Here's what you're going to do. I challenge districts, number one, to survey their staff anonymously about their professional development and how effective it is. I challenge districts to look at their absentee rate on professional development days. When we have teachers that are walking out, rolling their eyes, on sleeping through those days, things are ineffective. When school districts look at professional development as a number of days per year, or I'm looking at counting the hours as opposed to engaging the learning and transforming the classroom, we've completely lost it. In the past, it's been, I'm going to bring somebody in, they're going to talk in an auditorium where I'm going to herd everybody like cattle together. They're going to talk at them for 2 hours. We're going to hit January, and you better have implemented it. What an ineffective way to do it.
What's your solution, Tom?
The bottom line to professional development is it models good teaching. So good professional development is a lot like good teaching in the classroom. We would never use a one-size-fits-all in the classroom, kind of preach it one time and expect they implement it. Just like with kids, we need to differentiate, we need to personalize. So professional development needs to be ongoing. It needs to be systemic. What we did in our district is we made it part of the supervision process. So no longer do we sit there and track the hours. It's not here's 18, my 18 hours for the school year. It's here's what I learned. It's not here's what I attended. Quite honestly, I don't care what you attended. I care what you learned. You could have attended and slept through it and learned nothing. So the process being here's what I learned and here's how it transformed my classroom. So for us here in Quakertown, it's become more of a supervision model, and hey, if you're not growing professionally, you're not going to be proficient. Why should you be? So the expectation is setting the bar high, also understanding and recognizing that teachers are learners themselves and learners first. And with that said, they need to learn and grow too. Biggest piece here is finding ways to cultivate teacher leadership. If you have one or two people in a district doing it completely top down, it's going to be ineffective. They can't do a good enough job, but there's not enough hours in the day. So when you start to cultivate the leadership of your teachers, sometimes we administrators, myself included, need to get out of the way, allow teachers to lead, allow teachers to run with it, allow them to share their expertise. You know, we trust them with the lives of children on a daily basis, but then very often we don't even ask them how they need to grow professionally. So making teachers part of the process, giving teachers buy-in, having teachers and creating that culture of innovation is huge. I'm seeing it transform school districts, and I've been working with a lot of school districts on that because teachers, when they feel part of the process, are taking the ownership. And when you're taking the ownership, you're taking the learning.
Okay. So now, so you used to be a principal. Now you're the tech director, right? And
Sure.
Maybe you could tell us a little bit about the tech director role. Is it for my personal benefit, is it at every school? Does every school have a tech director? Is it particular to your school? And kind of what is your role there?
Sure. I took a unique path. I started out as a classroom teacher. I moved to a middle school teacher. I was a middle school assistant principal for a while. Then I moved down to the elementary level where I was a principal for a number of years. And then I moved to director of technology and cyber education. Unique being very rarely do people move from an administrative end of being a principal to the tech director. A lot of times in traditional schools, your tech directors are going to be your wireless, your network guys, your server guys, the guys that are worried about access points and those kinds of things in a traditional model. I know in my county, I'm the only educator, I'm the only person that has been a building principal or even a teacher as a tech director. I think it's one of the largest things that can either be a great roadblock in a school district or a great inhibitor. I look at my job as the tech director my job is to serve children first. So my job is to remove the roadblocks. Ask your average teacher in the country about the tech department, and a lot of them are going to tell you they get in the way. Everything's blocked. They can't access these sites. We're not allowed to do this. Tech directors and tech departments need to stop being the digital police department, and they need to move to be customer service oriented for children. My job is to enable my teachers and give them the resources so they can ultimately help our kids. A lot of times we as tech directors get in the way. We want that power to say, no, you can't. My job is not no, you can't. It's to say, okay, we can't do it this way, but we're going to find a different way to get you the resource that you need for children. So we are seeing that start to morph. Our goal here in Quakertown is anytime, anywhere learning. So we want to give both staff and students the ability to access high quality content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You know, we don't want learning to start and stop with the school bells. So what we want with that is we want to give that full access. And a lot of it comes down to the quality technology that we have. My job is to serve our children. The job of my department is to serve. And I feel we're doing that well in Quakertown. We're making a lot of strides, but we are a student-centered tech department.
Well, it definitely sounds like something that we can all learn from. It seems like in all points of my question, you're really breaking down the walls, opening up the learning networks, letting people be owners of their own learning paths, whether it's through personalized roadmaps for teachers or even for students within your school. So that's some really cool, inspirational stuff, and more power to you, Tom. That's excellent.
Appreciate the feedback. Thank you.
Other than that, that pretty much sums everything up, and I really appreciate you joining us today.
Great opportunity. I appreciate it. Bottom line for anybody that's out there, make decisions in the best interest of kids. It's why we do what we do. We are here to serve them, and let's find ways to do it together. We're all on the same team here.
Yeah, totally. And before we check out, it's Thomas C. Murray, that's MURRAY.com for his website. And at Thomas C. Murray, definitely follow his Twitter. And for the Twitter hashtag, we'll also post it on the blog. It's Cybraryman. That's CYBRARYMAN.com. That's a gold mine. And I can't believe you started that, Tom. I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks. Great hanging out today. I appreciate it.